So I'm completely at my wit's end. Completely. Facebook still won't let me go live. I am supposedly banned from going live for 14 days from the last incident. And 14 days was up on the 5th. I can't go live on YouTube because YouTube won't recognize my camera. I've Googled it. I've gone everywhere. I've done all the things. I've jumped through all the hoops. And yet, I still can't go live. And it just irritates the living piss out of me. So, you're going to have to get it previously recorded. 2020. What the hell happened to 2020? I mean, we freaking lost our minds in 2020 so far. And if you haven't heard, the coronavirus is up to like 80,000 people, 800 deaths. We still don't know the complete truth. I mean, now it's getting harder. The censorship in this country is becoming... But I knew it was coming. I was hoping it wasn't going to come, but I knew it was when they repealed the Internet Act or whatever it was. What was that, a year ago? To where now internet providers can slow down feeds to particular websites and whatnot. You know, the internet is a scary thing for our government. Very scary thing. Nothing is worse than people being able to share information and share it immediately. Nothing is worse than somebody flipping out their cell phone and going live while you're doing your thing. We don't want that here. But I'm really trying not to let the negativity get to me. I live in a very, my world is very negative. I have negativity coming at me all day at work. I have negativity coming at me at home. That's why I have adopted the practices of meditation and crystals and healing and chakras. And with this world like it is, I suggest you do it too. Is what is happening apocalyptic? I don't think so. I don't think it's apocalyptic. I think it could most certainly weed things out a bit. I mean, if this thing does get going, I mean, we're pretty good with medicine over here, so if it gets going, it must be some serious stuff. If things were to get going, it could really weed things out. But I just honestly don't believe it will. I don't know. I could be totally wrong because there's a lot of information that they're not saying, and there's a lot of information that they're not giving us, and they're giving us false information and all of that kind of thing. So it's really hard to form an opinion. But I can tell you this, even though, you know, we're probably not going to go grid down, or we're probably not, you know, all of those kind of things. If you or your community does contract this virus, they're going to lock you down. They're going to lock you down, and I think 2 weeks is that it takes like so many days for the tests to even come back. I want to say something like 12 days or something, 2 weeks, whatever. Anyway, that means no ins and no outs. And that means that, you know, you need to have some food and water because, you know, one of the latest things that came out is that these hospital workers are contracting it because they're dealing with feces. So it's being spread in that manner. So now you take it to the sewer. And I know you think the water coming out of your sink is super clean and all that, and it probably is full of bleach and all kinds of freaking chemicals. But, you know, if your community comes down with this, using the public water system would be questionable to me. So, you really should have some water put back. You should have some food put back. You should have some money, some cash on hand, because you may or may not be able to get to the bank or an ATM. I don't know. Some people bank, like my son lives in St. Louis and banks in Missouri. He lives at one side of Missouri and banks in the other side of Missouri. So, if he can't get to an ATM or whatever, he's not going to get any money. Which brings me to a question about your money. You know, I always say, don't leave all your money in the bank, and I still say that. Now, some of us, like me, the majority of my money's in the bank for about 5 minutes because I do pay bills through the bank. And sometimes you really don't have a choice but to pay bills through the bank. I guess you could write a check. The problems with checks are delays in processing, and I don't like to use checks. So, yes, even though the majority of my money is in the bank, it is there only for the sole purpose of paying bills, which unfortunately is the majority of my money. So, I wanted to clear that up. But anyway, you know, you need to be a little prepared in case you get locked down, in case you get quarantined. If somebody in your house contracts it, true, I hope you go to the hospital. There is no amount of tonic that is going to make you live through this disease. I want to go out there and say that now. This disease, this virus, is a population weeding virus. This virus is like the plague back in the day. A lot of people died. The population really got weeded out during those times. Only because of our modern medicine does it not do that so much now. Could you get lucky? Yes, because some people are really not being affected at all. Some people are carrying this virus and not even sick, or maybe have a sniffle, of which I've had for freaking weeks. My boss has been sick for 2 weeks, I think. So, you know, as far as we know, we're freaking flying around with the coronavirus. And if you've got a sniffle, you're probably not going to go to the hospital and get tested. I didn't go to I went a couple of weeks ago and got tested for the flu, and maybe they did test me for the coronavirus. I don't know. I don't know if they can test you for things and not tell you. Maybe they can. But, you know, what if I decided not to go? You know, and normally I wouldn't decide to go. It was only because of all the pain I was having that I did go. Had I just had normal flu symptoms or, say, a bad head cold, I probably wouldn't have gone. I got in my fridge and grabbed my freaking bottle of tonic and started swinging away. Which, by the way, my new tonic worked wonderfully. Even though I still am fighting with the stuffy nose and the sniffles, man, it really cleared me up, and it really made me feel good and relaxed, and I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. So, get on my Facebook page and find that recipe for that pine needle tonic, because it is the shiz nick. Anyway, so if someone in your household becomes infected with this virus, you are going to be quarantined. Your house will be quarantined. So you need to be prepared for that because you're not going to get to go to the store. At that point, even if you had lived across the street from the store, you are not going to be able to leave your house. So what food in your house, if you came down with this today, what food you have in your house would be the food you have to eat for the entirety of your quarantine. Now, you may think, oh, well, they'll bring me food. Well, maybe they will and maybe they won't. And do you really want to play Russian roulette with what they will and will not do? Not me. I'm not going to do that. So anyway, at least get a month's worth of stuff, you know, even if you're not going to prepare for a long-term situation, at least prepare for that, because, you know, this is a real thing. Anybody there cannot be anybody on the face of this planet at this point that doesn't know about this shit. So, you know, even if you're not one to store a bunch of food and hoard a bunch of food and do all that stuff, you need to have at least that. So, you know, the winter's been pretty mild. I know that January and February has been kind of a bitch. I'm waiting to see what the spring holds. Last spring was terrible. Last spring really played a number on my growing. So we're looking within the next month or so to get that greenhouse up. It may take some time. We have to buy everything a little bit at a time because we really just can't afford to buy it all at once. And we want to build a permanent greenhouse. But, like I had said, my son moved out. And what I think I'm going to do is get some lights and put them upstairs and maybe get things, use it like a mini greenhouse at this point. Get some things started, get some seeds going, get, you know, even if it's just trays on the floor. It may just be trays on the floor because, you know, shelves cost money. The lights that I'm going to use are, you know, nowadays with the LEDs and stuff, lights are pretty affordable. And with seedlings, you know what? You could probably use a light bulb and be fine. So even if you can't afford shelves or any fancy equipment, you know, trays, cookie sheets. You can go to the Dollar Tree and buy cookie sheets. You can buy those aluminum pans. Save your toilet paper rolls. You cut them in half, fold the bottoms, and now you've got your little plant pots. So no money spending there. I am planning to buy dirt, but you may be lucky enough, and I do have good dirt on my land, but it's a lot of physical labor to go out and dig up dirt, of which I lack in the physical labor part. So I plan on buying dirt, but it isn't going to take that much dirt. To be perfectly honest, dirt can be pretty cheap. So anyway, that's my plan there, and I'm going to get some seeds started. This year, I mean, last year I experimented with a lot of new stuff. I experimented with okra, and I experimented with the loofahs. What else did I experiment with? Oh, potatoes. So here is my plan this year. Okra was great. I did use the okra. I don't use enough okra, though, to warrant actually growing okra. Now, I have thought about maybe planting a few. I'm going to see if I have room left. If I have room left, I may plant a few. But I don't see getting a big crop of okra going. Potatoes. Now, potatoes are going to be, I'm going to change things up completely. So this summer, I'm going to do the bale gardening with the straw bales. And you know what? I've been researching it, and everybody's like, you can't use hay bales because you'll grow grass. I would say this, and I'll tell you after the season, because this is what I am basing everything I'm doing on this season. If they were baled recently, if they're fresh bales, yeah, maybe I wouldn't want to use those. If those were all I had to use, I'd freaking use them. Old bales, though, you know, after they've turned black, gray, real dark gray, I mean, they're so ancient old, you know what? You might, I don't see those sprouting a bunch of grass like the new ones would. Straw, of course, is the best choice because straw doesn't hold seeds, and it won't sprout on you quite like hay will. But you know what? Use what you have. Use what you have. If you have only hay bales, then use hay bales. And here's the reason I have to do that. Getting down and weeding and tending the garden is increasingly hard for me. So, this braces everything up. I can get this guy down the street has these old bales, and they're like black. I mean, they're old, for $1.50 a piece. And I have instructed Papa to get with him this week, because it's a very possibility that we'll just buy the whole trailer. It's not that big of a trailer. But my plan this year is potatoes I'm going to put in the ground. I only planted like 4 potatoes. I got about maybe 20 pounds of potatoes out of it, and they were small because it was kind of a late plant. If you remember, it was late because I, couldn't get my garden plowed and all that stuff. But this year, I can't. I'll go right out there where I was. I'll probably plant a row or 2 of potatoes. That will go in the ground. I'm going to plant green beans. I'm going to plant those in the hay bales. Let's see, I'm going to do my tomatoes and peppers. Tomatoes, however, I am considering keeping them in the greenhouse. And here is why. Used to be, years ago, you wanted your tomatoes out in the hot sun, because that's what made them grow, except for now our sun is too hot. And once the temperature is over 90 in the day and over 80 at night, they quit blooming. They quit fruiting. So, I am hoping that growing them in the greenhouse may help. My onions I will still put in the ground. I don't know why my onion crop was so small. Maybe I harvested too soon. I don't know. I don't know about that. So I'm going to do it again, and we'll see what happens. I got a lot of onions, but they were small. So not big ones like I would hope. I'm going to do squash as usual. Probably not going to grow loofahs this year. That was going to be one of my commodities from my homestead. I don't know. After growing them, harvesting them, and processing them, and what I got. Okay, so every loofah I harvested is usable to me. It doesn't matter if it's discolored. It doesn't matter if it's an odd shape. It just really didn't matter, because I use it for bathing. I use it for washing dishes. I use them for everything. However, if I were going to sell these, people aren't going to buy a loofah with a big black spot on it, or they're not going to, because that's just the way people are. So, what I got sellable versus, what I got that were less than perfect. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to do the loofahs. I was really excited about those, and I thought those would be a great commodity. And I guess if I was going to grow a ton of them, it may be worth it because they were really nothing to grow. I mean, there was no work in the growing. So probably no loofahs. So last year we tried out making aprons, and I found that that was a hard thing for me to get done. And the fabric that I would want to use to make a quality apron, and you know, I still may make a few aprons because some people will pay for quality. But is that going to be like a huge thing that I have like a ton of aprons? No. Because I want a good thick, I don't want to say denim, but a good thick, you know, twill, something sturdy. And fabric isn't cheap. And fabric is not something I can make at the homestead. So those are still in the air. Maybe, maybe not. But I think what I've done is I've taken last year's plan and I've trimmed it. I have decided that I don't need to sell 10,000 things. Now, I am a firm believer that the more hooks you have in the pond, the more fish you catch. So I am going to have quite a variety of things. However, you know what, that can come in time. So this year, I'm going to concentrate on my soap and my oils. Possibly going to make some herbal teas. Things like that. Those are things that I've continued to do anyway for myself. I'm just going to kind of up it a little bit. And I'm not going to have 10,000 kind of soaps. I'm not going to have a soap in every fragrance. I'm not going to have, and I still have to make my list on that. And I think I do somewhere have like a rough draft of a list, but I'm going to do unscented. I'm going to do unscented goat's milk, scented goat's milk. I'm going to do a sage soap. I'd like to do an activated charcoal soap. And I would like to do a coffee soap. And then maybe another one. So I plan on carrying about 4 or 5 different types of soap. And that's it. You know, maybe every once in a while, you know, because here's the thing. If you want to, it's hard to get natural ingredients, and they're not always readily available, and sometimes you have to order them. And when you have to order them, they're expensive. So, you know, when it comes to essential oils or extracts and things of that nature, it just really starts cutting into everything. Also with the mail order, you know, yes, I will mail order. It's going to cost you $3.80. They just upped it. It was $3.60 last year. And in January, they upped it to $3. And that's for 1 bar of soap. I think that's for up to 4 ounces. So I have to determine how many bars of soap gets you up to 4 ounces. And I have a chart from the post office. And I have my Tuesday, I should be getting my soap cutter, so that's going to allow me to make consistently even bars of soap. But that's where I'm going with that. A couple of the people around here have had a great idea, and I think I may adopt that this year as well. You know, having a store or anything it's nothing but money. Everything you do in your business is overhead. You know, your product that you buy, your building that you rent, the utilities, the packaging, the shipping. Now, the shipping can go back, but all of that is overhead. And then you've got licensing and regulations. So, now my town that I live in has no real ordinance regarding setting up farm stands, garage sales, things of that nature. And a lot of the people that I know, and I know a couple now, have set up continuous garage sales. So, like, of the weekend, they have a garage sale every weekend. And, you know, it's like 2 days, 2 or 3 days, depending. So, I have this 25-foot trailer out back that I used for a studio that I think I may set up as a farm stand, as a permanent farm stand. And I can sell my soaps. I can sell any veggies out of there, plants. I'm going to sell birds possibly this year, chicks and started hens. A started hen is one that's ready to lay, 16 weeks old, ready to go. Ready to go, if not already going. So, anyway, you know, these are things I can do every weekend. So that's something I'm thinking about setting up as well. So anyway, I really just kind of wanted to touch base with you, hoping that you're taking this time where the weather's terrible and, you know, there's not much you can do outside right now. I hope you're taking this time to maybe write down some plans, you know, how are ways that you can help fund your homestead by selling things from your homestead. You know, what are the skills you know how to do? What are the skills that you can do, and how can you translate those skills into extra money? You know, and I don't mean that you have to necessarily get rich. That would be awesome. Don't get me wrong. If I could live off my homestead, I'd freaking be doing it right now. But, you know, like just with me selling my eggs when I do, it pays for the chicken feed. So at that point, my chickens are free, and the eggs that I consume are truly free because I've sold those extra eggs and that paid for their feed. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, how is it that you can make things sustainable for yourself, not necessarily for your bank account, but you know, if you were to say plant a tray of extra seedlings and then sell those seedlings for $2 a piece after they've gotten, you know, so long. Well, now you've bought seeds for next year, or maybe you've bought some soil, or maybe you've bought, you know, whatever. This is what I'm talking about, making your homestead work for you. So hopefully you're taking this time to think about that. I do have a lot planned again this year, just like I did last year. I learned a lot last year, and shared those with you. You know, that was the whole point of this page, was to learn things and fail and see what works and see what doesn't work. And just because something does not work for me doesn't mean that it won't work for you. So I hope I give you ideas of things to try and things to do. Anyway, I'm going to get off here and get on with my day. Got a birthday today. Hopefully, it depends because I have a sick baby too, so don't know what's going to happen with that. Anyway, I love you all. I thank you for continuing to follow me. Hopefully, I'll figure this live thing out soon because it's really frustrating. Anyway, you have a great day, and Nana Prep out.